What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Euphoria video. Sadly, there is no footage in this video despite being fair use. HBO has decided to copyright strike me, and if I get 2 more of these strikes, then my channel is sadly deleted, so we have to go with what we have. I do apologise. Still, we pick up from a pretty cool intro describing, well, Rue is describing how much he likes Jules in a clever parody or insert of them into famous love stories in the media. The problem is that Rue is very high and fakes it, sending Jules to Elliot, who gives her a lesson, but as expected, he's hella snaky, and the pair get close with Jules trying to alleviate some of her guilt later by playing truth or dare. It's a toxic friendship between all three, and echoed later when we see Cassie distraught at Maddie and Nate being together. Now, she is adamant that she is crazier, and Nate has made the mistake of getting with 2 crazy best friends, as Maddie and Nate play games with each other, as Cassie is right and they shouldn't actually be together. She's going to blackmail Nate to try and get with her. And Cassie says this, and after Cassie makes a scene at Maddie's party, Maddie is so toxic to Nate, airing their dirty laundry in public, and Cassie pukes, no doubt upset at the lies that Nate has been saying to her as well. The stuff that Maddie's been saying that he said to her, he is no doubt saying to Cassie. I wonder if Kat has now decided that she does or doesn't want to have a relationship like that. Maddie made a nice actual thing to her by saying that, well, you don't want to have what you've got now. You don't want to have this horrible relationship. You don't want to just feel horrible because you're not feeling anything at all. Now, I guess it's Nate's fault, as he has been gaslighting these 2 crazy people, as Cal tries to relive his youth as he goes to the bar he went to with his friend all those years ago and starts losing it. And he does try and relive that moment when he was actually together with him, which is interesting, but you know what, it's not a good idea, as he does end up getting banned from that place, but it does give him his epiphany at the end of the episode. Now, Elliot acts even snakier as he tells Jules that Rue is not sober, knowing it would split them up. Now, before that, we did see Jules try and get her to kiss, or Rue to kiss Elliot, which happened, and then they try and play like a whole weird kind of truth or dare game and go off and actually try and rob a convenience store, which they tried to do to steal liquor, and Jules is very upset that, well, Rue is drinking. And here we see Elliot play his hand and act like a total douchebag and go and tell Jules that Rue is not sober. So it's not looking good whatsoever for poor old Rue. Now, of course, her whole drug plan is moving sort of forward. She needs to try and get some people to, actually sell these drugs for her. But it seems trouble in her relationship. And I think that if it does end with Jules, this might be kind of like finally it for her. And later we see her try and go, or at least she in her head talks to her father, sees a church, that sort of thing. It's clear that her father is the source of a lot of her pain, and that her father's death did leave a huge void in her. The problem again with this trio is that it's nowhere near as gripping as the other stories. I find Maddie and Cassie's story far, far more interesting, because that is like a ticking time bomb. That is going to absolutely explode. We also have the thing with Lexi, which is really creative, as Cassie and her argue. And we also have what's going on with Ashtray and, of course, Fez in the background. You can tell that that is going to get involved with Rue's drug story, but I do find everything else much more interesting, especially Cal's story as he comes home after his escapades, and shockingly, he does actually come out to his family in a drunken rant after urinating on the floor. And that is quite a big thing, as just like Maddie and Cassie's story, the ticking time bomb of him coming out and finally exploding has come to pass. Now, it's quite a big thing, as he does say that, well, he wants to have sex with anyone. He has this family who has let him down, and that he has been held back by this family in this surprisingly candid admission. Now, the big thing, of course, as we found out last week, was that, well, he was going to live his life how he wanted, but the biggest mistake of his life was having Nate, and the family have held him back from living how he wants to. An absolutely debauched lifestyle, I'd imagine. But I'd imagine that he's incredibly repressed, which is why he goes through and does kind of like filming people and meeting illicit people for trysts. I would imagine that he can actually, if he can, live out his emotions and share his emotions, then he wouldn't be half the person he actually is, which is really interesting and is easily one of the most interesting parts of this episode. Overall, it was a really, really entertaining episode. I find the whole Rue and Jules thing just a bit going on and on. The love triangle, I'm not really that into. That's not what I was entertaining. I would think it'd be much better if it was Rue who was the one who had this friendship and Jules was continuing on saying don't be friends with him because he's leading you down a darker path. But that is that. I'm sure there's a lot of people who do enjoy that story, and that is up to you. That's your life, and everything is just an opinion at the end of the day. But overall, that is it for this episode and video. Please drop a like down below if you enjoyed it. Please do subscribe with notifications on if you want more from us, and I will be back soon with Peacemaker and, yes, Snowpiercer as well later this week, but it will be up later than usual. But I hope you have a good day. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.